Imagine walking into a stadium where whispers ripple through the crowd. Can this version of the Celtics still dominate? You feel the tension, the sense that the familiar pillars, those you took for granted, are gone, yet something new, unpredictable, is taking shape. This season will test more than skill or chemistry. It will test belief. Because when giants fall or step aside, the opportunity for new legends to rise is born. What the Celtics do now could define the next era, and you, yes you, are about to witness a metamorphosis. Stick around because what follows may shock you and inspire an entire fan base. If you're fired up for Boston's future, smash that like button, subscribe for non-stop Celtics content, and hit the hype bell so you never miss a moment of this journey. In the offseason, Boston lost 5 rotation pieces whose names and presence once felt eternal. One of them, the franchise's cornerstone Jason Tatum, is sidelined by surgery on his Achilles. Some will see this as a collapse. I see it as a turning point. This team has traded certainty for possibility, tradition for transformation. Instead of scrambling to replicate what was lost, the front office leaned into reinvention. The 5 new faces arriving in green bring raw potential, unique skills, and a stake in the future. Their success will depend not just on statistics, but on character, adaptation, and daring. Let's unpack what each newcomer brings, the risk involved, and why Celtics fans should dare to believe that this shift, this gamble, can still lead us to greatness. The new pieces, talent, fit, and expectations. Anthony Simons. He's not a replacement for Tatum. He isn't meant to be. Simons arrives with an established reputation as a high-volume scorer and three-point threat. He averaged 20.7 points per game and attempted nearly 8.8 threes per game in recent seasons. If he can absorb pressure in critical moments, stretch defenses, and stretch beyond being just a shooter, he could become Boston's new electric spark. His expiring contract gives the Celtics flexibility and perhaps room for even more roster creativity. Luka Garza. Big men don't have to always be theater pieces. Garza offers a bruising presence in the paint, a beast on the boards, and someone who can punish soft defenses. He's not built for finesse, but for muscle and effort. In a revamped frontcourt, his role may be limited, but his contributions could be exactly the kind of ruggedness Boston needs in grind quarters. Chris Boucher. He changes the look. He might not rival the shot blocking of a classic rim protector, but Boucher's length, mobility, and ability to rebound offensively are intriguing. He's a modern glue big, someone who can operate in switching defenses, finish at the rim, and extend possessions with putbacks. In the right alignment, he could carve out a niche as a disruptor. Plus 2 more newcomers. Alongside these names, the Celtics injected youth and depth in wings and bench roles. These are projects with upside, hungry to prove themselves. They don't carry legacy burdens. Their blank canvases may become the palette for surprise breakouts. If just 1 or 2 of them blossom, that alone can tilt close games in Boston's favor. The stakes, holes, pressures, and the East's gauntlet. Without the familiar anchor of Tatum, the Celtics now have to answer fundamental questions. Who initiates offense? Who draws the defense? Who still closes games? The departures didn't just leave holes, they exposed structural vulnerabilities. The frontcourt depth is thinner. Leadership on the floor is broken. Seamless transitions from defense to offense will demand new instincts from these fresh faces. The Eastern Conference remains a minefield. Every night will test whether Boston's reinvention can survive against juggernauts. Early season losses could snowball into doubt. But if the new arrivals can take control of small wins, edge tight quarters, they might turn transition year talk into a renaissance. The coaching staff must now identify roles quickly. There will be brutal experiments. Early rotations will shift. But this is a blessing in disguise, the chance to reframe how the Celtics operate when they are no longer reliant on a few stars. Why optimism isn't foolish. No legacy expectations equals freedom. The new guys don't enter with weighty expectations. That can be liberating. They get to define themselves rather than live in the shadows of icons. Fresh roles inject hunger. When veteran roles dissolve, opportunity opens. These new players will play with desperation and passion they have too. Adaptive coaching. Joe Mazzulla and the staff face their own trial by fire. This is their moment. A creative scheme that amplifies mismatches, speeds pace, and hides defects could make this version of Boston dangerous. The long view is still green. This season is a bridge, not the final destination. If 1 or 2 of these players blossom, the Celtics' long-term ceiling still soars. Boston may hurt now, but that pain can be the kind that forges character. When old pillars fall, new ones are born. These 5 off-season additions aren't saviors by themselves, but they may be the spark Boston needs to light its next dynasty. Dare to believe that from uncertainty, a new legend is already forming. Let's ride this rebirth together, Celtics Nation. There's danger, there's challenge, but in that crucible lies possibility. Boston may hurt now, but that pain can be the kind that forges character. When old pillars fall, new ones are born. These 5 off-season additions are not saviors by themselves, yet they may be the spark Boston needs to light its next dynasty. Dare to believe that from uncertainty, a new legend is already forming. And just as Celtics Nation begins to settle into this new reality, a sudden rumor sends a jolt through the league. Celtics may have just found the perfect partner for an Anthony Simons trade. The timing is almost cinematic. The Houston Rockets have lost starting point guard Fred VanVleet to a torn anterior cruciate ligament during training for the upcoming season, an injury that could sideline him for the entire year, according to League Insider reports. This single twist of fate instantly changes the landscape of the Western Conference and sends trade chatter into overdrive. Boston, already reshaping its identity, suddenly holds a piece every contender craves, a dynamic scoring guard who thrives under pressure. Simons arrived in Boston as a calculated risk, a player capable of 20-plus points per night, fearless from beyond the arc, and still only 26 years old. He was never meant to copy the greatness of Jason Tatum or the steadiness of the departed veterans. He was meant to rewrite the script, but now his value may have doubled. Houston, fresh off a blockbuster summer that brought Kevin Durant and other high-level talent, still believes a championship window is wide open. Losing VanVleet creates a void they cannot ignore. Simons fits their needs almost perfectly. He offers explosive scoring, elite three-point shooting, and size at the position, even if he lacks VanVleet's defensive bite or playmaking pedigree. Here is where the curiosity begins to burn. On paper, a deal makes sense. Boston could gain financial flexibility and strategic leverage. Houston could stay alive in a brutal Western race. But insiders caution that matching salaries is no simple task. The Rockets lack the kind of expiring contracts that would make a clean exchange, and Boston's front office has been obsessed with maintaining future flexibility. Could a third team step in to grease the wheels? Could draft picks bridge the gap? Each scenario opens a new door, and each door hides a different future for the Celtics. For Boston fans, this is not a story of loss. It is a story of choice. If Brad Stevens and the front office decide to move Simons, it will not be an act of surrender. It will be a chess move designed to keep the team ahead of the curve. Imagine the return package if another franchise with a sudden injury steps into the bidding war. Imagine the ripple effects if a contender desperate for scoring is forced to overpay. Simons, with his combination of youth and production, could unlock assets that extend Boston's competitive window well beyond this season. Meanwhile, the Celtics are not standing still. Training camp opens with a clear mission. Discover which of the new additions can thrive in bigger roles, test bold rotations, and build an attack that does not depend on a single superstar. The absence of Tatum due to his Achilles surgery, expected to keep him out for much of the regular season, forces creativity. That creativity could turn uncertainty into surprise. A breakout from a role player, a defensive scheme that frustrates elite offenses, a sudden leap from a young guard, all of these are within reach. The beauty of this moment is that Boston controls the narrative. They can keep Simons and ride his scoring through a challenging year. They can trade him for picks and contracts that create room for a future blockbuster. They can even wait until the trade deadline when desperation across the league reaches its peak and leverage climbs to its highest value. No matter the path, the Celtics hold the power, and power in the National Basketball Association is the currency of championships. As fans, you are witnessing a franchise that refuses to be predictable. You are watching a front office that understands timing better than anyone. You are part of a story where every rumor carries real stakes, where every injury in another city can suddenly shift Boston's destiny. This is why you stay locked in, why every practice update, every whispered trade call, every sudden injury report matters. The league will continue to guess what Brad Stevens plans to do next. Opponents will hope Boston hesitates. But the Celtics have shown again and again that they thrive when the world doubts them. Whether Anthony Simons stays and becomes the unexpected hero of the season or departs in a deal that sets up the next championship core, Boston stands to gain. So keep your eyes on the green because the next headline might arrive before the next game tips off, and it could reshape the path to banner number 18. If you feel the energy of this moment, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the hype bell so you never miss the next twist in this unfolding Celtics saga. Boston fans thought they understood the story when Jason Tatum crumpled to the floor last spring. A torn Achilles in the second round of the playoffs felt like the kind of injury that ends seasons and redefines careers. Experts quickly whispered about year-long absences, about slow recoveries, about the frightening possibility that a superstar might never look the same. But Tatum has never followed other people's timelines. He is writing something far more unpredictable and far more thrilling. During an appearance on national television, Tatum delivered a sentence that shook every assumption. He said he is not working out and rehabbing 6 days a week for no reason. No hints of resignation, no careful public relations language, only a glimpse of a competitor who refuses to surrender a single day of his prime. He spoke about the importance of a full recovery, about listening to doctors and the organization, but he would not rule anything out. He even admitted that he has a date circled on his private calendar for when he expects to be 100% ready, a date he kept secret but promised would bring him back to the TD Garden in front of Boston fans. His surgeon, Dr. Martin O'Malley, reinforced the sense that something extraordinary is happening. According to O'Malley, he has rarely seen a patient recover with such speed and strength. At just 6 to 8 weeks after surgery, Tatum was performing double heel rises, an exercise that normally takes months to achieve. The doctor marveled at the power in Tatum's calf, claiming he might avoid the usual loss of strength entirely. For a player whose game depends on explosive movement and balance, this is not only encouraging, it borders on historic. Tatum's career has always been defined by durability and relentless effort. In 8 professional seasons, he has missed fewer than 10 regular season games more than once, and those instances came only during league-wide pandemic disruptions. He has never sat out a playoff game until this injury. He has often spoken about the responsibility he feels toward fans who buy tickets to watch him perform. He knows every child wearing his jersey deserves to see him play, and he treats each game as a promise. That mindset now fuels his recovery, turning rehab into a competition he refuses to lose. The implications for the Celtics are enormous. Boston built its offseason plans assuming that Tatum might not return until the following year, adding new talent to keep the team competitive without their franchise cornerstone. But if he comes back months earlier than projected, even late in the regular season, the balance of power in the Eastern Conference changes overnight. Opponents preparing for a Tatum-free Celtics could suddenly face a rejuvenated superstar entering the playoffs with fresh legs and an unshakable will. The question now is not only when Tatum will return, but how his presence will transform a roster already buzzing with new energy. Every day he spends in the gym adds intrigue. Every silent week on the calendar invites speculation. Fans can only imagine the moment when the lights dim at TD Garden and number 0 walks out of the tunnel to reclaim his team. It could happen sooner than anyone dared to believe. Boston stands at the edge of something special. Tatum's recovery is no longer a slow march back to normal. It is a race against expectation, a test of science and willpower that he appears determined to win. Celtics Nation, keep watching every update and every practice clip because the comeback that once seemed impossible is starting to feel inevitable. If you believe in this journey, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the hype bell so you do not miss a single heartbeat of Jason Tatum's return.